It's quick art talk time, guys. And today we're going. Yeah, I know it's like it was in my head to always say motherfuckers, but since it is an educational platform, I cannot do this. So I was still thinking about a proper intro. It's quick art talk time, motherfuckers. But I don't think I can do that.
No.
Because we are a school. So I'm just gonna say it's quick art talk time, guys or girls. So yeah, welcome. It's the first episode of 2019, episode 5, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a little while. I really promise to do it every single week, but yeah, time constraints, and I really was fighting hard to get our main man here. He is also very busy. But finally, the guy that is responsible for, starting Focal Point School here together with me, he invited me 2 years ago to come here to Poland, start this whole project up. We were, super good friends from the start. And it was just a no-brainer to do something together. Not only because, we're friends and, we high-five one another, but we were both into education. Darek Zabrocki is today here with me. He has been doing his own mentorships. He has been doing a lot of workshops throughout Europe. And today we are going to talk about constructive criticism with him. So yeah, Darek, did I miss something in this introduction?
Hello. No, it was perfect. Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really happy that I could do that with you. I might just quickly say that we as Focal Point, we are not restricted to only doing what we do at school. As you can see, Michal is running this really insightful, great series of art talks that I enjoyed listening while I'm working. And yeah, finally, I'm happy that I can be here with you. We almost met every day, but sitting down and do stuff like that, like podcasts, it's always kind of like you have to match the specific times. And yeah, I'm happy that I'm finally here, and I of course keep my fingers crossed to kind of so this project evolves with time, and it would be our regular thing at Focal Point, because me and Michal are doing also live Twitch streams for Focal Point occasionally, but we would love to have more activity. And since we are both busy with work and with preparation of the school, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hectic to find like every time do something like that. But I'm really happy that we still can do, and I'm pretty sure with time it will only get better. It's the same with the school itself. The school is growing. The number of people that are signing up for our classes is much better, much bigger right now than 2 previous terms. We of course are thinking really hard, really seriously about expanding the team of people who are running separate courses, especially that there are people who are specialized in specific things. But I think we can go to those details later on. I don't want to destroy the structure of your podcast. So
my structure is always chaotic, man. So don't worry about it.
And I'm just saying hi, and yeah, let's move on with what you had in mind.
Exactly. No, guys, at least you know that nothing is like run through a script, so everything is like has an organic flow. But yeah, there is a nice structure that I wanted to talk about today, which is constructive criticism. So it is actually also the main key features of, the methodology, how we also teach at our school, like what is constructive criticism? A lot of people and a lot of young artists, and I don't blame them, because it is something that you as a human being will always have. You work on a piece, and you can feel the improvement. You feel that you improve, because it's like you're doing your best, and etc., and you feel you feel how you grow with every single almost brush stroke, and then you really commit. Time sinks into one piece, and then you ask your friend, for example, hey, how do you like it? And then if a friend's being honest, and you still have some lacklustering features about your design or illustration, then most of the time, you will hear, feedback. If the person, of course, is honest, which is, hey, this could be better, or hey, man, this sucks, or, this tower over here doesn't make much sense, or the reflection there doesn't make much sense, or, the atmosphere there looks kind of off. And, a lot of people I found out, and I was like that in the beginning, they might, feel offended because like, hey, man, like, oh shit, that feels really shitty to hear, like, and sometimes you don't want to see it, and sometimes you don't see it because sometimes you don't have the experience, or sometimes you just, kind of like too blind to see. But we wanted to talk about is how can that actually increase you of getting better, because constructive criticism is, in my opinion, nothing more than being honest. And I think the more you are friends with someone, that also means that you are honest and you trust that person. And if that person really tells you, hey man, this could be done better, or hey, this sucks and you have to do this, it's not because somebody's trying to bash you, or your friend tries to bash you. You have to believe that he's your friend. He's telling you that because he wants you to improve, and he's telling you honestly, so you know the best. And why would he lie? If he lies to you and says, oh, that's a beautiful looking piece, and he obviously sees mistake, the anatomy is completely off, then is it a real friend just to make you temporarily feel better? And then through ignorance you will go on thinking that you delivered an amazing job, and then you will continue repeating that mistake. So yeah, that is my 2 cents. How do you feel about that?
I totally agree with that. I think that if someone is like, trying not to harm you, is like, maybe they are too sensitive or whatever. But if there's someone who really is caring about your progression, they know that, when they say like, oh, this looks like shit, or you have to change this or that, you have to also be kind of diplomatic about it. How do you approach certain criticism? It's like what I think, what I noticed during our classes, how do we approach a certain explanation to our students? It's really has really changed a lot since the beginning.
Yeah.
And like, just to make things clear, we are not here to just kind of bash you or like bitch about your work. Oh, how look how do you suck? It's not about that. It's like just to give like
no, of course not. I mean,
it's to give like a specifics, and how can you improve this piece, because I can see that you have potential, or this piece has potential, but so far it still sucks, and I'm here to help you, just to give you insight how you can improve that so it doesn't suck anymore. So this is the way that I can see criticism. And I totally agree with, like, if you're friends with someone, just be honest, because if someone treats you as a friend, and you are feeling that you are a friend to this person, you want the best for them, right? You want the best for this person. So if you want the best for this person, just be honest and say, okay, you have to change this, man, maybe just this, and okay, I'm gonna just change the composition, maybe add some more flow, maybe some detail here, maybe some change of the color, maybe think about the whole shape language. How can you fit it better? How can you kind of populate this area even more to make it more interesting environment? Like, think about the props, think about the lighting, a lot of like specific things that kind of makes piece overally read and as a piece better. So I think we are I just take us as a good example of that, because we are friends for how many, 8 years?
Something
9
like
years?
that. 2011? Yeah, since 2011.
Yeah, so 8 years. And holy shit, I feel old. Like, I remember from the very beginning, of course we were fans of our works, but from the early beginnings, when we were doing like those like Skype talks, every day, or like 4 or 5 times per week, and we were just giving each other like a feedback on the work that we were doing right now at the moment. I remember that how honest we were. Like, I remember, like, sometimes you just approach me like, oh, Darek, look, I just created this epic like new vehicle design. It's like, yeah, it looks good, but this part is shit. And it's like, at the beginning, I didn't know how would you react, but with time I saw that, we got like a, proper friendship build up,
Yes.
and like you were honest to me, I was honest to you, and it still didn't change. So even when we are teaching right now, I still feel everyone who is like, want to progress, there is always space to progress, there is always space to get better at. So that's what we believe in. So even when we are teaching our students, we want to learn new things at the same time, and we learn from each other. We learn not only technical aspects, but also, philosophical aspects, theoretical aspects, even how to teach people properly, how to motivate them, how to become a better mentors or better teachers, overall. But also on our like after hours talk, that we do still a lot and often, we learn how to be better artists, and we just give each other like very honest and sometimes very cruel feedback.
Yeah, that's really well said. I don't want to repeat things to, not be too boring, but I guess what I wanted to just say, in addition, that it really skips, the bullshit, and it really skips the walking on eggshells, right? If you have sometimes, and everybody has been there, that you have a friend and you feel that you might be afraid that you offend him or her. That is
It's not a real friendship
yeah,
then.
it is a very inconvenient situation to be in, because you know that, hold on, so if something is really bad, and again, it's a life lesson. It's not even, only applicable to art. Let me just,
I think sorry, you can,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'll just did that. Keep on popping up because I'm running too many progress at the same time. So yeah, you know when you are you know that the friend is true, and like when the friendship is real, when you can be direct with the person, right? The moment you feel that you're like walking on eggshells, that is, painful, because basically you're lying, and lying is something that will not get you far in life. From my experience, I've been lying too. Doesn't work at all. But yeah, and lying to your friends, family, spouse, that is, also not a way to go. Honesty, directness will bring you further. And professionally, when we mix, our profession with the friendship, there is no other way than to be honest. And I guess that is a nice way to put it. Just before
Darek.
yeah, direct Darek. Before we move on, because I assume that everybody knows you here, but for those of you who never heard of Darek, like I said, amazing educator, founder together with me of Focal Point. He's doing amazing stuff for movies, working on now a highly anticipated title for Fox. I cannot say what. Let's do a quick run through his portfolio, right? Mostly scenography for movies, but he is proven to be super versatile. Worked for, designing Max at Sony Guerrilla in Cambridge. Did a lot of prop and level design for the latest Need for Speed as well. This is some Robin Hood art. Yeah, we could even have a separate talk about his portfolio, and maybe we'll do that. But just to give you guys an idea what he does, will give you, a good insight, right? Super strong fundamental skills, and that is something that he had from the start. He excelled in that, and from there I saw him developing through the years, being able to tackle almost anything, right?
Thank you, man. You make me blush right now.
Oh, come on. Yeah, so he's a mixture of some stuff that we also did live at school. So many of his work that you see, we actually do also live in class, like this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is our digital painting class. Then I guess to show something from her environment class. Do you have something here from her? I guess this is something comparable for
yeah.
advanced
This is
environment.
from my mentorships, but it's pretty straightforward and similar to what we do at our advanced design classes.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, going back to constructive criticism, because we also develop further, and as you guys know, I am more into, mech design. I did a lot of environment stuff in my life as well.
Man, you should fucking post it finally. Like he made like a lot of very good like environment.
Very good.
Yeah, like I was actually like maybe you shouldn't say that, but we are working together on many projects, and I was actually witnessing that when you were doing them, and we of course talk like it's like you see that the friendship goes beyond our personal work time only. We of course also help each other during the work for movies or for games. So every time that we kind of stumble upon like we just hit the wall at some point. Like even when he is doing what he is the strongest in, and vice versa, we still want to see the fresh eye on it. And I think that is the best person that I can already reach out to, because I know that he will be honest. It's not like, yeah, he always like, yeah, that's good, but maybe you can change this, and vice versa. So we actually witness a lot of our professional work as well. And since we are at the same city right now for more than a year, we can actually meet up and it's like giving each other feedback live on place on site. So this is what we do, and I can tell you guys that I'm really looking forward to see what Michal posts from Hitman, because I saw some of the environments and the level designs that I do lately on a daily basis, and how he tackled that was super inspiring, because most of the people know him from like vehicle designs, and I'm really happy that we both I believe can somehow prove and tackle on like a versatile task that shows that we are not really close into just specific barriers or limited to specific subjects, and tackle everything from vehicle designs, environments, illustrations, character art, and even more.
Again, yeah. Well, man, when I make you blush, it doesn't mean that you have to make me blush in return. But yeah, thanks, man. And of course, what I just wanted to add that about the versatility aspect is we are able, I guess, to do that not only because we support each other well, but we really hone down on those fundamentals which we teach at Focal Point. Like
yeah,
we do
sorry,
think.
Sorry for interrupt. Like you have those specific compositional, for instance, rules or like I would say design flow rules that actually goes well and are common for almost everything that we have designed, for vehicle, for building, for architecture, design flow, hierarchy, scale, repetition. It's all goes and happening at every single subject that you have to go through, whether it's like environment, whether it's just a specific building, or even like a new phone, or like gaming mouse, for instance, or vehicle, or bike or bicycle, whatever. It all has to have like specific like shape language, shape flow, repetition of the designs, like area of rest, area of detail, and how you can compare those. And this actually goes along for every piece that we have to tackle on a daily basis, basically.
Yes, it is. Versatility will make you. It is possible through the knowledge of fundamentals. Yes, exactly. Being able to control your own lines, being able to know your lighting, and from there on take any tool you want, like 3D. And all these fancy 3D programs that allow you to do everything basically you want. You can now, with Blender, you have this 3D drawing option. But in the end, it is just a tool, right? It's just like, again, giving a plumber, an automatic drill, and a professional plumber will be able to do much more than, a starting plumber. So yeah, if somebody asks, us, do, the brushes matter? Does your tool set matter? Yeah, of course it does, because it is there to personalize and increase the efficiency of your own working experience. But yeah, knowing those fundamentals is super important. Like you can see here a matte painting, and he was only able to do that because Darek knows value. Darek knows light. He knows when stuff reflects, when stuff bounces back, when stuff is being diffused, when it is being hit by atmospheric fog. How does fire look from far away? Will it will have a more reddish hue? Will it will a more bleaked out hue? How will the water waves ripple here in front of the boat? Everything matters. And then you see, you know, some other stuff, you know, like here's some interior, which is like more painterly, but again, same fundamentals. He knows how to, you know, work along with the lighting. He knows how to construct this composition, you know, in order to keep the camera low, focus on the king, knighting this lord of night. All these aspects, you know, super important, and executed in a different style. Some photos have been used as a support, but as you can see, everything else has been painted, from the characters to, you know, the rest of the church, the stairs here, and everything else. And then, you know, to give like one more example, when he was doing one of my tasks as well during a focal point where we were designing some Fallout inspired / 60s cars, he, you know, showed, you know, that his design abilities for hardware are also pretty much there, I would say. You know, I don't want to butt of course too much, but you can see that this could be pulled off as a successful design exploration, right? So hello, I think you're cutting away.
Sorry. Cheers, mate.
yeah, you were cutting away. So yeah, so you can see, you know, the portfolio that he's been working on. So let's, you know, go back to what I was doing, because we wanted to give you guys an example of, you know, how constructive criticism work. I've been doing this piece during his class as well. I guess it was summer term. Or no, we were doing each other's tasks even before the first term started last summer. That's what we were doing, because we wanted to show that we at Focal Point we don't want to come across as those teachers that know fucking everything. No, we are learning together with you guys.
Because there's no people like that. There's no person like that.
Exactly. And, you know, we are able to learn so much from one another, right? Like his knowledge about architecture, European architecture, and, you know, all these names that he knows, like Romanescence and all that even I don't know. It's so useful, you know, and he exaggerates in his own style. I took his class as well, and
I love this piece, man. I love this piece.
Oh, well, thanks a lot. I was looking back at it. I said, this was my first iteration, and I tell you, you know, I spent a lot of time on it, like 3 full whole days, you know, to figure out.
Can you click on tab so you can just hide the layers? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like this?
A tab.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can see that I was, you know, some time has been spent on that. I was like struggling with the lighting, how to make it interesting. I'm still not super happy, you know, because this maybe looks like too purplish. But this was the first iteration. And, you know, of course, after, you know, a lot of time, a lot of hours spent on this work, you know, it was Darek's task. I was like, okay, you know, time to feedback it. And yeah, the feedback was, you know, kind of painful, but honest. Like I knew that these things had to be done. The things that I know that I should not do next time is I'll probably go for a more interesting shot where, first of all, this is maybe in more distance, or, you know, hit the ground here with some interesting lighting, because now we only have the reflection here, and it is just not what I had in my mind. But I'm semi-happy with this right now as a whole composition. But a lot of other things were wrong here, you know. Sloppy design of the pole here. Sloppy design and, you know, a lack of, you know, perspective on the statue here. A lot of, you know, things that were missing, like debris, props, you know, the humans here are not finished, you know, just forgot about them to paint them over. super bad. You know, the architecture was kind of like, you know, these loose like rubber pikes that are like waving in the wind instead of, you know, being like solid framework for the roof. The towers were kind of out of perspective here as well, you know, because I wanted to, you know, keep it under, you know, 2 or 3 days. And in the end, you know, there was a lot of room of improvement. And this was a direct, very fast paint over back then. So you can see, in one go how much, he increased, the statue, which I even didn't think of, looks here like basically a boring standing penis, like very straight up, holding a bowl, very stiff, like he has to fart or something, right? And I totally agree that, like, yeah, I didn't see it. And even though it was like also, it was referenced from a pose, because this was Columbus, I think. This one was way more engaging and way more, it had, because it was not only design, but the whole composition of the image had to flow. And with this statue going on like that, it was way better. Later, he painted over again, and then we went for the horse, so you'll be able to see that as well. And of course, you see a lot of changes here on the architecture, the street lamp, the breeze here. I changed it with some bench, some well for the sewer system, clock. So because this window felt kind of, I agree with that. It kind of feels out of place with the rest of the windows. Even though I was trying to replicate the windows that are going on here, it still feels just a little bit weird.
It gives like a little bit more functional element. Like when it's like a huge clock in the center of like square, that's always something like that in the European architecture. Yeah. So when you got to know like the cities in Europe, you will see how many improvements you can just do. Like like when you look at those two versions, it's not like I made like a huge fixes, but just those little snippets of like details, or maybe just changing some of the shape language, like for instance on the pole, lamp pole, or the main building, and you will see how it really improved Michal current version. And it's like this is actually what I think we can both agree on, like a good art directing, because we worked with a number of art directors in our life, and we still do. And some of them are more like corporal people, like this, like corporational people, when they just kind of, they're not artists, they don't feel things that well. And when it comes to us, I think, or to work with the art directors that really are an artist or were artists, and they get the sense of the art, was the design, was the composition, was the function, and how to kind of put it all together. This is the key element that we also try to, kind of put a huge impact on. How do we feedback each other, and how do we actually feedback our students?
Yeah, very very well said, man. I have nothing, to add, because then it might be, repeating and making this whole thing more boring. I mean, boring. It is not more boring. It's fucking interesting, right? That's why you're watching, guys. Anyway, yeah. So what I wanted to add is, this helped a lot as well. I added that in my current version as well. So yeah, let's see how that turned out. When I was starting the stream, I fixed the clock.
Much fucking better. Like, look at the lighting poles right now. It looks so cool. It was such boring. Like the statue, and that little fence that I suggested to you. Like, look, this, like, even the lamps in the background on the far right now is fucking, like, maybe those little like a branches of the trees that are behind this lighting pole, you could kind of hide it with the value a little bit more, so it's a little bit more separated from the lighting pole. But this looks more like a super rich composition, because the composition itself was good. Like the camera angle that you pick up from the base reference was really nice find, but not right now. It really looks rich. It really looks rich, and I can see that you also added like those like a canal. How do you call it? It's like a canal system cover-ups on the ground, on the floor.
Hold on. Here?
No. The close, the guy in the foreground. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, that's like a sewer well. Yeah,
exactly. I think you can make it a little bit darker because it's dying in the value. But those little additions that we were talking about, like how to make environment more interesting, was actually a good lesson when I was doing those level designs for Need for Speed, because we couldn't go crazy with designing sci-fi scene or whatever, because everything was like heavy based on the
On
nature or
reality, right?
reality. Yeah. So how can you make those environments more interesting? It's by just putting functional elements into scene. We don't throw up. We don't throw not throw up. We don't throw the props around the scene just for the sake of throwing this around. We just really try to understand how this scene would look like, and how would it look like if we were there. How could be, how could it be, a more interesting reality, more interesting environment. So we try to, always add like functional elements to make scene look engaging, like you want to immerse yourself in that. It's like creating
Exactly.
an
Yeah.
immersive world.
Because professionally, in the real professional world, when you're like working, do this piece for a client, this is already something that is in between concept art and a really fleshed out illustration. I would not call
Yeah.
it maybe a super fleshed out illustration, but it's definitely a piece that sells the concept.
Yeah, you can call
the
it like
comp-
production.
yeah,
Production
it sells
concept.
it sells the idea, the concept, the structures are visible, the architecture needs to be visible, the mood, the atmosphere, the lighting. Basically, you're putting a lot of information into one piece, because concept design again is about visual communication. We share that in depth at school, of course, but again, we are doing these art talks for for people that are maybe thinking about joining Focal Point School, or they maybe can't. That's why we also want to be out there for those people, because I believe through education, providing education, something that we didn't have back in our days, and giving that now back to the community is also something beautiful. Yeah, so I think I feel also much more happier with this piece. I think it's a very good example. I think that next time maybe we could do the same, but then you going with my task, because
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
to again show the versatility, knowing what design philosophy is, and we'll be going from architectural pieces to sci-fi mech designs.
Yeah.
Basically, we are really about being able to allow a concept designer to be able to tackle anything. There's nothing wrong with specializing, and you should of course do that, but we do that for two reasons, because the market kind of requires that, the industry, and we just like it. Like, I would not be able to like only do mechs, or only do even though I love mechs, I would not be able to only do that. And I know Darek is also like that. And I think if you have an overall passion for design and concept art, then that is I think the way to go. Other than that, is there anything that you would want to add, Darek?
Regarding this piece, or in general?
General, just advice for anyone who is watching.
I think the most important thing is to stay open. To be open on criticism.
Yes.
To be open on like constructive criticism, because during your career, or when you're just starting out, or like even when you are already like established artist, you will for sure stumble upon people who want to criticize your work, but just for the sake of criticizing your work. And you have to know when it's like constructive criticism, when it's something more closer to like, oh, I'm gonna just point out just for sake of pointing out, right? So
Exactly.
we need to kind of get used to being open on criticism, but with the later time, you have to be also aware how to pick up what's really a good criticism, what's not. And I definitely feel like when I see that something is wrong with my work, and I ask someone, oh, can you help me with that, or can you see those mistakes, and someone tells me like, oh, it's great, man. It's like, I know they are not really putting that much effort to help me figuring out what's really wrong, because when I feel that, it's much different when I don't feel anything and someone just point me out things and like, oh, okay, maybe this will work. That you're right. But when I'm really sure that something is off, and someone tells you that, or tells me that it's all good, I'm pretty sure that they should pay attention, and they should give them a little bit more attention to and try to help you. So so this is I think my advice, just to stay open, just to be open on criticism, and just to always stay critical, because this is one of the things that actually helps me the most. Like being self-critical to myself let me evolve and develop my skills. When I already say, oh, okay, I work on like a number of projects, like I'm just posting work and people follow it, people like it. Like, yeah, you already lost. If you don't progress, if you are not self-critical, you're not gonna evolve. So be open and be self-critical.
Yes, very nice. Yeah, so what can we learn from this? I think, again, directness towards your peers and the people you work with, people that you see as friends. Be with them honest, give them constructive criticism, because guess what? It also will go and leak through your professional career. If you finally, land that job, at a studio, or maybe already in there, and you're not able to take criticism from the producer, art director, etc., then you're not going to get that far. Of course, you have different kinds of people. You have to know when it's constructive criticism. Basically goes like this. This sucks, and then you should always ask, why does it suck? If you have like a good why, then that is called constructive criticism. If you're just being bashed, then that can be being out of jealousy or some hatred, or some people, it's like their hobby to just shit on others. Other than that, directness, put it on 2000%. It really opens your mind. If you know that a person is being direct with you, you can be direct with the other person, and that goes a really, really long way. Fastest way to improvement, because if you hear from the other person that your piece sucks and you tell them why, then you don't have that feeling of oh, I'm just gonna chill right now, I'm good enough, I did what I had to do. No, you're feeling the thrive to constantly get better, and I guess that is the feeling that you want for your friend to have, so he or she can improve. So yeah, with that, I just I guess wanted to guys thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.
Bye.
Thanks for coming, Darek. More to come.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Awesome.